It's the Pit Stop. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for, the next little bit of time here, we're going to talk about the racing world out there. Don't forget, follow us at the Pit Stop Talks. They're on X, the Pit Stop Talk, of course. You can catch our show here at YouTube. Also, TME Media AZ is where you can find it. And then, of course, all the podcast systems for those of you that would prefer to listen to us and not see me on your screen. Same show, just audio form on your favorite podcast system. Either search the Pit Stop Talk, just like the social media, or the Pit Stop with Steven. It generally will pop right up for you there as well. New things starting this week. Well, we're going back and uploading all the shows to this 2026 season. For those of you that prefer Rumble over YouTube, well, TME Media, they're on Rumble. You can find the Pit Stop there on Rumble starting. Well, this week as well, we're getting the past shows updated, and then this one will be up on there as well. If you don't see it by Thursday, it'll definitely all be up by Friday for you. All of our other sports programming, we're just putting up here starting today. But Pit Stop, we're going to go back and start from the beginning of the season here in 2026. But enough of that, right? We had limited racing last weekend, and of course, this is a racing program that looks back at racing last weekend, which happened to be it. Rockingham, IndyCar off, Cup Series off as well. We also look at the news around racing. Big news here with the return of a driver. And then also we look ahead to this weekend's action, which happens to be at Bristol this weekend. With IndyCar off, IndyCar will get back underway next weekend there at Long Beach coming up. And as I said, I'm Stephen McCollum, and let's get right into the pit stop here by looking back last weekend at the Truck Series there at Rockingham. The Rock. I know. Sorry, second week, bad Sean Connery impression. But Corey Heim came into this race as a part-time driver. He proved he can still dominate the Truck Series. You know, he's a part-time racer this year and already has 2 wins as a part-time driver. He led a personal best 178 laps in winning his second Truck Series race of this young 2026 season. It's the 25th race win of his career as well. 5th most all time. Now, it was a dominating affair for him as he led a ton of races or a ton of laps, but it wasn't all easy. He had steering issues, tire issues there in the last about 4 laps here in this race. He had to hold off his teammate as well, Caden Honeycutt, both part of the Tricorn Racing team out there as well. He had to hold off his teammate. Gets the win there for Corey Heim. Let's look at the white flag lap and how close this actually was. Truck 1, please.
Side by side, white flag in the air, final lap. Corey Heim has absolutely dominated this race. Caden Honeycutt in the 11 has yet to win his first career race. Trying to get around Tanner Gray, their teammate. Not enough. Corey Heim gets the advantage. Here they come out of turn number 4. So close, but Corey Heim does it. 25th career win. He wins it at the Rock, and he takes home that $100,000 bonus.
Gets the bonus on top of it, winning the 2 races there in the trip, as well eligible for the final win here coming up as well in that race. But you saw there, right? A third Tricorn driver got involved in that late there, finally gets out of the way. But look, Honeycutt did his best to try to catch Corey Heim there and just couldn't get it done. Corey Heim's the first driver this season to actually score maximum points in a specific race. Yeah, first one to do it in any of the top 3 series. He won both stages, turned the fastest lap as well in this on lap 174. He ran that at 22.965 seconds. All of that just simply means he got the maximum points here. But it's all for naught, right? Don't forget, Corey Heim's only part-time in this Truck Series this year. He isn't eligible to win the Truck Series championship. He would have to fill out a waiver. And NASCAR generally doesn't approve waivers unless it's a medical hardship. He's only raced in 3 of the 5 truck races so far this year. And he's opted to not race in the other 2. And he's actually missing a lot of races here coming up as well. But he had 76 points in this race at Rockingham, maximized his point potential as well. So if he was eligible for the championship race, well, that moved him into a tie with his teammate, Caden Honeycutt, for second place in the standings. That puts him 15 points behind the leader, Chandler Smith, in that truck series. A lot of talk after this race on Corey Heim. Corey Heim could win the championship this year and only be a part-time driver and not actually win it because he's not eligible for it. He's going to miss enough truck races that's going to eventually going to go by the wayside here in terms of that. But it is a funny little narrative, or at least a realistic narrative here earlier in the season of Corey Heim possibly winning the championship and not being eligible to win it. But I think that will be less of a story, obviously, as the season goes on. You saw that in that clip as well, thanks to Fox Sports 1. Corey Heim won his second straight race in the Triple Truck Challenge. So he got that $100,000 bonus as well, which means he will race for the $500,000 this weekend coming up at Bristol Motor Speedway. That bonus is available to a driver who can win all three races in what NASCAR and the Truck Series calls the Trip. Of course, Corey Heim won the first two legs of that as well, making him eligible for this weekend. Hey, Corey Heim had a great weekend, had a great week racing there in the Truck Series, had to battle some serious steering and tire issues. Let's check in with him after the race and get his thoughts. Truck 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like I was pushing any harder than the previous run, so I didn't feel like I did any more damage to the right front, but all of a sudden, I think it was like 4 to go. My truck started just like, I had to turn more right down the straightaway to keep it straight. You know, my wheel was clocked like 20 degrees to the right, and then we started shattering really bad in the corners. I was like, oh boy, here we go. We're going to lose this one in the worst way possible, but hung in there and just had to use a couple of lap car picks there to fend them off. Respect to Caden for racing clean there. I had to do what I had to do there at the end, but first win for Robin Hood, first win in my J's, my race shoes here. Thank you to Toyota Tricon for having me back again. I really enjoyed doing this. Definitely a stressful ending there, but got it done. Go for $500K next week.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's obviously excited to be there and winning it. He just loves winning. It's all he does, it feels like, right? On the racetrack. But, you know, part-time driver gets the win over his teammate. Well, let's check in with Caden Honeycutt, looking for his first win in the series. Caden Honeycutt after the race and his thoughts, Truck 3.
How much did that take out of you, Caden?
That was everything I had. No doubt about that. Just, man, thank you to Safe Flight and everyone on this 11 team that had a really good truck today. I know Corey was definitely really good today. I finally got the adjustment at the end that I thought I needed, and finally got the track position to be behind him and to race him at the end. Just, I don't know. I mean, we went down into 3, and unfortunately my teammate was right there, and just kind of hindered our way to the finish. But, you know, congrats to Corey, the whole one team Tricon. This organization's been really, really good the last 5 weeks, and just shows how good our trucks are. Just so thank you Toyota Racing, everyone that believes in me to do this. Just great calls today. Scott did a really good job in the box making adjustments. Just the last one was definitely one I needed. I caught him. I don't really know what I should have done differently to win the race. I feel like it's so narrow down there. I couldn't have ran in my teammate and punted him out of the way. But yeah, it's just definitely unfortunate that we can get the win there. But it's awesome that we're keep on climbing and got into the top 5. And second place definitely bad to hang our head about. So we'll go on to Bristol with a lot of speed and momentum. And I feel like we're our first ones getting there. Just got to keep on trying.
Don't forget, thanks to Fox Sports 1 there for all of the coverage there of the Truck Series this week. I mean, he's in a hard situation. One, he's racing his teammate for the win. Of course, that being Corey Heim in front of him. Part-time driver, Corey Heim raced in that 11 car, won the championship last year, dominated the season with that 11 car that Caden Honeycutt's in now. Then he had another teammate that kind of got in his way a little bit as he's trying to battle with Corey Heim. Obviously can't punt that guy out of the way, right? That driver out of the way. To push him on, because then Toyota and your team's mad at you for doing that as well. Interesting dynamics here in this racing circle, if you think about it here. I am really impressed with the way Caden Honeycutt, after that, with that interview there on Fox Sports, I'm really impressed with the way he handled himself. Obviously disappointed, wasn't able to catch Heim. Teammate kind of got in his way. Just handled it at a professional level for such a young driver in that field and getting that done as well. Let's get into that finishing order here of the race. Truck 4, if we could throw that up for me. Obviously, Corey Heim was in first place. Caden Honeycutt, his teammate, there in second place at that point. Lane Riggs, which is a name getting a little hot here on the Truck Series. We'll see this weekend going into Bristol, but then Stuart Friesen in the 4th spot. Grant Effinger in 5th. Tyler Ankrum in 6th. Corey LaJoy, of course, don't forget, full-time driver now there in the um, Kulig Racing stable, with a day getting out of the Truck Series and resigning from that position. Corey LaJoy with his top 10 there at the 7. Ty Majeski in 8th. Jake Garcia in 9th. And then Cole Butcher there in the 10th spot right now. Other names we pay attention to here because of playoff points. Christian Eckes was 13th. I shouldn't slip over 13th for him. I apologize. Tanner Gray, 16th spot. He got kind of punted there during that race for that 16th spot. Apologize. I thought he was up a little bit higher on me. My guy that I picked to win it, Gio Ruggiero, their 17th spot here for him on this race. A couple laps down, along with Ben Rhodes as well, finishing in that 18th spot for these guys. So not all perfect there. And even then, Chandler Smith, right, in the driver notes. Well, if you noticed in that white flag lap that we showed you from Fox Sports here earlier, well, he was there. He was in that 4th spot. Chandler Smith was. He started last in this race, drove up to that 4th place at the checkered flag. Problem is, he went to the inspection after the race. Truck was DQ'd in the race inspection for rear body inspection height requirement issues there for Chandler Smith and his team. Well, that means instead of the 4th place finish, he officially has that 36th place finish there for Chandler Smith. Absolutely devastating and disappointing for that team, especially with the way they raced all the way up there to that 4th place spot. On the other side of that, well, he also lost 33 points of the championship or playoff points here with that DQ that he had earned. Well, let's look at those championship points now. Truck 5, if we would here. Yeah, but keep in mind, Corey Heim's not on this list. He would be in that 2nd spot right now. But he's obviously not on the list there. But Caden Honeycutt there in the 1st spot, 190 points. Lane Riggs at 179 points in the 2nd spot. Chandler Smith lost those 33 points there that he would have won with that DQ and going to last place. Well, he's still there in the 3rd spot, 173 points. Ty Majeski, Gio Ruggiero, Christian Eckes, Ben Rhodes, even though they did not run well here at the Rock. Well, they have still in the playoff hunt as well. Stuart Friesen, Justin Haley, who actually finished pretty well in this race here. Tyler Ankrum there in the 10th and final playoff spot. Just 4 points ahead, Grant Effinger, who is below the cut line right now. Then you got Jake Garcia, Tanner Gray, Andres Perez, and then Cole Butcher there, all underneath the cut line looking in. Look, it's early in the race. That's only race 5 of 18 or so here for the Truck Series going into it. But going to be competitive here at the bottom level of the championship point side of the racetrack. Now, next up for the Truck Series, well, they go right into this weekend. They got Bristol coming up this Friday. We'll discuss Bristol later in the show, of course, after the break when we look ahead to racing after news. But that wasn't the only final race, and we got Friday and Saturday racing at the Rock last weekend. Easter weekend, Cup Series off, IndyCar off. I like it when this is one-off races. I'm not going to lie to you. They should have another weekend where the Cup Series kind of just gets a vacation and these guys rock on a race on a course like an old school racetrack. I like this format. I like this weekend worth of racing. And Rockingham gave us a big surprise here in the O'Reilly Series at the end of the race. Couple big surprises, but something good to see as a result here after we watched the racing. If you saw the race, or even if you didn't, you're learning about it now. Well, he got the lead there and controlled the race after a restart on lap 172. Look, we're talking about someone we've never talked about before in the victory lane. In the O'Reilly Series, William Solwich. He pulled away over the final 79 laps, and he won Saturday's race there at Rockingham Speedway. It's his first win in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. He's only 19 years old, folks, as well. He's had some success, had some good runs. First victory, though, as well. He's the youngest driver to win at Rockingham in any of the NASCAR Top 3 series at 19 years old. Well, he led 80 laps total, crossed the finish line 0.863 seconds ahead of his teammate, of course, Joe Gibbs Racing, Brandon Jones. So the other surprise here, 1, William Solwich gets the win. 2, Well, that's the end of the 5 race winning streak for Junior Motorsports, right? JR Motorsports, first time they've lost here in 5 races. So, the series record of 6 straight victories for JGR was on the line in this race. If JR Motorsports would have got it, they would have tied that Joe Gibbs racing record. Well, the Joe Gibbs racer kept Junior Motorsports from getting it. That's fantastic drama there at the end. Let's check out the white flag lap here in the O'Reilly Series. O'Reilly won.
Been an impressive drive, and I think to that restart where he got the better of his teammate Brent Cruz around the outside, it was an awesome move. It's put him in this position.
Incredible drive for William Sawalich, the 19-year-old from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Off the turn 4, sees the checkered flag. His first career victory comes at Rockingham.
I also think I read that he's the first driver ever in the NASCAR series from Minnesota to get a win also. I read that somewhere. Don't quote me on that one, but I'm pretty sure that's an accurate fact. I read that somewhere as well over the weekend here with his win. So, look, you get your first win on a series. You get your first win as a 19-year-old. We're going to go to you. We're going to find your interview on the CW. We're going to go to and check it out. O'Reilly, too, here he is after the win.
Obviously a tough year last year and a tough start to the year this year. These boys mean everything to me. They were here with me through everything in my family. It feels good to get it done here in Rockingham in front of an awesome crowd. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Our sound gear, GR Super, was on rails today, obviously. Good in stage 1, stage 2, and obviously amazing in clean air.
The lap traffic, the last closing laps, what were you trying to just remind yourself of to just be as efficient as you could getting through that to hold off the 20?
Well, funny enough, lap traffic took me out last year, so kind of running through my head a little bit. But man, I just, studied the race last year and, just calm down and everything's fine.
Congratulations. William Sawalich, a winner at last in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Just matter of fact, putting it out there, got knocked out in this race of lap traffic last year, and no problem this year for him out there as a 19-year-old first win on this series. Let's show up the finishing order here as well. As you know, he finished first there, William Sawalich. Brendan Jones, his teammate there in second spot there. Justin Allgaier, who's won 3 of 5 last 5 races going into this, well, he finished in third place. Roger Caruth stuck his head up. I like the way Roger's been racing this year overall in the 4th spot there. Carson Kawapel, they're in the 5th spot. Sheldon Creed ends up in the 6th spot. Taylor Gray in 7th. Parker Resleff in 8th. Ryan Sieg and Corey Day with a top 10 finish as well at this point. Other guys we talk about because of playoff points and expectations that weren't in the top 10. Austin Hill finished 11th. Sammy Smith in 12th. Harrison Burton, 13th spot here in this race as well. Jeb Burton, his cousin, 17th spot as well for him at that point. Anthony Alfredo, 24th in this, but Jesse Love, 27th finish here in this race. Not a good weekend for Jesse Love as well in this race. Now, other finishing order notes here in terms of, Corey Day. We just talked about him, top 10 finish. For the first half of the race, Corey Day appeared to have that dominant car here at the Rock. He's 20 years old. He led a race high 118 of the 250 laps. He even swept the first 2 stages. Those were the first stage wins of his entire career here on the O'Reilly Series as well for Corey Day. Yeah. What happened was pit stops doomed him as the day went on. He lost 5 positions on a slow pit stop during the second stage break. Never recovered from that. Then later on, he had a pit out of sequence. Around lap 173, 174 is when he had to do that. He had a loose lug nut, and he went from 24th. Restarted there after that loose lug nut pitting. He started in 24th, and over those final 70 laps, well, he got up there to that top 10 finish here for him in that 10th spot. Fantastic, although frustrating day for Corey Day. He showed he can be up there in the front in the early part of that race. Pit stops doomed him in a little bit, was able to recover for a top 10 finish. Do not sleep on what Corey Day did and his team did there in that weekend's racing as well. Let's throw up the championship points here in the O'Reilly Series. O'Reilly 4, Yeah, after the race there at The Rock, I swear last time I'm doing my bad Sean Connery impression. Justin Allgaier, no doubt about it, with his race win, still a number one. In this race, 422 points. Yeah, Jesse Love in second did not have a good race at Rockingham. 296 points for him. He's in that second spot. Sheldon Creed, Austin Hill, Corey Day there in the fifth spot, right? For him, Carson Quapple, Sammy Smith, Brandon Jones. There in the eighth spot, Parker Retzlaff there in the ninth. Raja Karuth, I like the way he's running this year. I think he might sneak out and get a win or two this year, Raja will, with his team. Then William Solowich goes into the 11th spot with that win. Then Taylor Gray wraps out. On the positive side, now it's still early in the season, but he's in that 12th spot inside the playoff line now. 30 points ahead of Sam Mayer, Ryan Sieg, Brendan Poole, and Anthony Alfredo here. Those guys are underneath the elimination line as of right now. And I like the way that this O'Reilly series is fleshing out this year. If you followed me here the last couple of seasons or even before when we did other racing programmings, either on the radio or where we did them at, I actually have for a while there preferred this series over the Cup Series in terms of drama, intrigue, racing abilities out there. Kind of lost it these last year or so, but it's coming back now. Connor Zilic last year kind of, with his dominance there, kind of, ruined that a little bit. But this series is coming back to that old form of hard, competitive, young kids trying to make their name for themselves and racing out there on the circuit. If you're going to catch one race on the weekend, I would tell you the O'Reilly race for me would be the race that I would want to catch. It's on the CW, and the CW earned 1.165 million total viewers for the race there at Rockingham as well. It's an 11% increase compared to last year's Rockingham race, also on Easter weekend. Now, don't forget, you get this from the Nielsen panel plus big data. They changed their formats here this year. Everything with this Nielsen panel plus big data tends to be a record right now. And they changed the format on how they record stuff. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. But viewership increased 4% compared to the same weekend race last year. Because don't forget, Easter will move every year. Last year, this weekend's race was at Darlington Raceway. 4% up from this weekend's racing. The audience did peak at 1.497 million viewers. That was in the last couple laps there as well to see William Solowich get that first victory there in the NASCAR series. So limited racing last weekend, but fun, exciting racing there as well. Like I said, I'd like to see NASCAR squeeze one more weekend, especially as we get closer to the playoff side, give the Cup boys another day off, boys and gals a day off. I like these one-offs at these older, I should say, racetracks here around NASCAR. But we got it last weekend, and we have to look ahead. We get back underway in Bristol this weekend. And when we come back here on the pit stop, we're going to look ahead to their racing at Bristol. Don't forget, IndyCar is off this week. We'll talk about that as well. Lots of news around the sport of racing, specifically in the NASCAR series. So when we come back, get into all that, look ahead to racing. I'll make my picks this weekend. It's Bristol, baby. Come on back. It's the pit stop. just saw there, you got The Real Matrix tomorrow, Friday, 10 a.m. at Robat TV. New episode comes out. It's the full hour here at Robat TV. Then at noon, you can catch it on your favorite podcast systems, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, all of them that you listen to podcasts on. The Real Matrix, Angry Patriots, what you have to search for, it'll pop right up for you. It's there at noon, along with at rumble.com is where you can find the full episodes there for free of The Real Matrix. Rumble.com/user/TME Media, our parent company that does a company we use here to produce the shows and everything. Find that on Rumble for you. And also this week, we started putting this show and all of the shows we produce and put out there on Rumble as well. It's on YouTube and Rumble, along with The Real Matrix there. For those of you that don't like YouTube and hate it, well, we got your option there on Rumble for you. And a lot of people have asked for that request as well. So 10 noon tomorrow for The Real Matrix. This show, well, every week. It's, of course, you can find it on your favorite podcast system if you'd like. Just search the Pit Stop Talk in your favorite podcast systems, or just search the Pit Stop with Steven. It pops right up for you. You have to be a little bit more specific. There's a lot of pit stops out there that are defunct, etc., that are still just sitting in the system. Pop right up for you as well. And then, of course, follow us on X as well. The Pit Stop Talk is where you can find us. We do all of our racing thoughts during the races, news of the week and everything leading up to showtime and afterwards. Things we can't hit here on the show. We get out there. Follow us there on X as well. New shows will be posted there on YouTube as soon as we're up today. It'll be on TME Media AZ on YouTube. And then we're going to upload this whole season onto the Rumble pages as well. So those will be up, and every episode, including this week's, will be on Rumble starting Friday as we are getting them all done for you now. Of course, the main event, sports show here. Me and 17-year NFL veteran Del Hellestray, all in the bag today. Catch us live here at Robat TV, 8 to 10 a.m. on YouTube, that TME Media AZ page. Don't forget, follow TME Media AZ as well on X. It's our parent company, and it kind of tells you what we do here, does show promotions. We're getting that up and ramping up as well. Free podcast system for the Real for the main event also. Well, just search the main event with Steven, the main event with Dale pops right up for you. Bruce Cooper on Tuesdays. Uncle Lou here today on Thursday. Catch us on the YouTube page, TME Media AZ, your free podcast system as well, on demand if you miss us live here at Robat TV. And then, of course, McCollum on Business. Every morning the market's here. Well, we do a business show, get you updated on the market, news of the day as well. And Lord knows that that market up and down swing, the roller coaster ride we're on, well, you need updating every morning, 7 a.m. live at Robat TV. As soon as it's done, Robat TV. No podcast for that at all out there, but YouTube. TME Media AZ. And then, as I said, starting today, every show will be up on Rumble as well for you. Rumble.com/user/TME Media AZ is where you can find it on Rumble for those of you that want to catch it there as well. We appreciate all your support. A lot of you want everybody consumes this media in different ways, folks, and we understand that. We're putting it out in more and more ways for you to catch us here. We appreciate your support, no matter how much or how you give it to us here as well. With all that being said, let's get back into our racing talk out there. And, at the Pit Stop Talk, you can find us on X here. TME Media AZ on YouTube. TME Media on X as well. Tons of ways to do it. Rumble starting where all this whole season will be up on Rumble by Friday morning here coming up for you. And then every week it'll be posted there, the YouTube page as well. And I'm Stephen McCollum. We're busy around here. And we produce a bunch of shows that we don't put out. Other entities put them out. And we'd love to share those with you as well as we get a lot of work and work hard to make sure those shows are good as well as they go out there. And I'm Stephen McCollum. And before we look at this weekend in racing, let's get the latest news around the sports world. And, some news around Cletus McFarland, who's just a fantastic personality out there. Gets some hate from a lot of people because he's coming into the sport a different way than most people do. And he made his O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut at Rockingham Speedway last weekend. But Cletus McFarland, well, he is yet to be approved for Talladega and those types of race courses here as well. He is approved right now in the series for the O'Reilly Series short tracks. So that means he's good for all ARCA races, all of the truck races as well. And then he's available only for, or approved only for O'Reilly races up through the short tracks. NASCAR wants to see more out of Cletus in the short tracks before approving him for those bigger tracks out there, tracks like Talladega. Look, he had spin out here at Rockingham again and things to that effect. So basically, they're keeping him off the, every track is dangerous, right, if you don't know what you're doing. But off the bigger tracks like Talladega, where it can be serious issues out there on the racetrack. That was a concern for some of these drivers on him getting fast-tracked up in the series with a little bit of experience in it. So NASCAR does at least look like they're pulling back the reins a little bit for him. But he is trying to get that approval, and now he knows what he has to do to keep going up here in the NASCAR series as a racer. Then the big news that came out this week as well, towards Talladega, and I like this a lot. Everybody will like this, I'm guessing. There's been a lot of concerns with Talladega, these drafting tracks, that, Daytona, well, they save their fuel, so they're running it half horsepower, 3/4 horsepower around the racetrack, especially early in the race to conserve the fuel for their green stops. So they don't have to do as many green stop, pit stops coming up here. It's damaged the racetracks. It's damaged the reputation of some of these racetracks. It makes this races, although exciting to people that haven't seen it before, for those of us that are familiar with NASCAR and like it, it's kind of ruined those experiences for us here, watching them go around in quarter speeds, half speeds here around the racetrack. Well, NASCAR wants to fix that. They're actually going to shorten the length of its final 2 stages, starting with the April 26th race at Talladega Superspeedway. They're doing this to address the fuel-saving concerns that the drivers and the teams do on the superspeedways. The precise lengths of the stages, well, they haven't been yet to be announced. We can kind of guess on them here. But NASCAR did say the final 2 stages at Talladega are going to be short enough to complete without a fuel stop at all, even at full horsepower and full speed out there on the racetrack. We're getting some ways, hopefully, where these drivers and teams can go full throttle here and win some races there without having to save and strategize here for pit stops. A lot of the super speedways within NASCAR, they were laid out with a short stage and then another short stage, and then finally that very long stage at the end as how they were, kind of configured. NASCAR's decided to flip that here coming up on Talladega. It's kind of the test. So the first stage, well, we can guess at these races, even though they haven't announced it specifically in NASCAR, but they're estimating the first stage will be closer to 100 laps, which is usually the final laps there at the super speedways, which is going to make the last 2 stages under 50 laps or around 50 laps apiece. No pit stop, green flag pit stops. No pit stop will be needed, for fuel for those final 2 races. Before it was 50, 50, and 100 roughly. I'm loving this idea by NASCAR 1,000%. Now we'll have to see if it works out, right? They return, as I told you, April 26th to the 2.66-mile oval there of Talladega Super Speedway here in about 2 weeks, roughly is what we're looking at, depending on when you're watching this show right now. And they also announced next January is going to bring the return of the preseason Thunder. That's just simply a test session that happens at Daytona International. Well, it assesses potential technical changes to the cars that could lessen the impact of conservation strategies that these cars and teams do at the super speedways. So this is their initial fix at Talladega, April 26th, switch the stage lengths around. And then coming in January, they're going to look into more ways to lessen the impact of conservation strategies that these teams do. And just they've taken away these super speedways and the excitement that used to be there. Don't get me wrong, there's still excitement, there's still all of that. There could be so much more. That's all we're asking for. Make NASCAR great again out there, I suppose, is the way that I will say that. Hey, Joe Gibbs and Chris Gabehart, they're in that lawsuit and got some updates here for you this week. Chris Gabehart, well, through his attorneys and everything, he believes the Western District of North Carolina, they should deny Joe Gibbs Racing's second expedited discovery request. Well, they want it denied because they say they have already addressed the issues presented as well or wanted from Joe Gibbs Racing. Here's the quote from Chris Gabehart's team. Don't forget, he went to Spire Motorsports. There's some allegations of theft of some Joe Gibbs proprietary information where this lawsuit comes from. They hired a private investigator, we learned here in Phoenix. They had a private investigator to follow Chris Gabehart to find out what he was doing. And the quote from Gabehart's team is, quote, JGR's litigation strategy, file motion after motion, accuse first and ask questions later, cannot manufacture evidence of disclosure and confidential JGR information where none exists. Yeah, that's what they filed a Wednesday there with the court. They went on to say in that filing, JGR is clearly desperate. It is yet to identify a single verified instance in which Mr. Gabehart transmitted, disclosed, or even used any JGR confidential information. The only documents JGR has been able to point to are personal to Mr. Gabehart and cannot seriously be said to qualify as confidential information or even trade secrets. They went on to say a high-level business plan and basic scorecard from form used to compile widely disseminated waste information and race notes is there, but they say it doesn't give any proprietary information. They went on to say JGR's latest motion is yet another attempt to paper over this fundamental shortfall with volume rather than substance, unquote. So they're just flat out saying they've got nothing, they're fishing, so deny these requests out there. This was another motion was filed April 2nd for additional discovery. This is what they're responding to. Joe Gibbs Racing stated then that it had become aware of deleted text messages between Gabehart and also his new company, Spire Motorsports co-owner Jeff Dickerson. Gabehart has responded that he voluntarily and transparently disclosed the deletion of those messages, all in response to the expedited discovery order. Gabehart's team remains adamant that he did not share any information with a third party, which they're accusing of being the third party of Spire Motorsports, who, by the way, is also a defendant in this case. But they also have been adamant that no Joe Gibbs Racing information has owned by Gabehart. Does he have it? And he does not want any of it, is what they're saying. So Chris Gabehart's legal team is also objecting to the latest expedited discovery motions made to the court from Joe Gibbs Racing. But he also says he's making efforts to recover those deleted texts with Spire co-owner Jeff Dickerson, as well. He wants to get those texts himself. He claims he's trying to get it. I think it's from AT&T, if I remember correctly. Gabehart does not object to the recovery of those text messages. He's making efforts to procure them from his cellular provider, but he does not agree to the scope in which JGR has asked the court to grant such discovery. Gabehart does say he asked his carrier for those communications. He's yet to receive a response from him, is what Gabehart says. But I can tell you this, the court does an order for them. And they'll show up pretty quickly as well and from there. So this legal wrangling continues here between these two parties, and I'm fascinated to see how this is going to turn out as well. But then finally, the final big news of the day is Alex Bowman. You know him. You've missed him the last few weeks, but driver of the number 48, Hendrick Motorsports, Ali Chevrolet. Yes, he has actually been medically cleared to return to competition. He's actually going to race in this Sunday's race at Bristol Motor Speedway as well. He's missed starts since Phoenix Raceway, Las Vegas, Darlington, Martinsville, all recovering from vertigo that he started to get symptoms of back on the March 1st race event at the Circuit of the Americas, COTA there. He ended up exiting his car on lap 71 and has not raced since then as well. But he's getting back here. He's going to be in the Bristol race this weekend. Have to see how Alex Bowman does there in the 48 car coming up here. And now let's, with all the news out of the way, let's get into this weekend's racing side. IndyCar is off another weekend. They return in Long Beach, California, coming up on April 19th. Next weekend, 10 days away, or 11 days away, depending on when you're watching this. 11 days as of Wednesday as well, but coming up April 19th. All three NASCAR series are at Bristol this weekend as well. And Bristol, if you don't know, is a .533 mile concrete track with plenty of excitement. One thing I love about this is no more dirt here on at this racetrack. We'll talk about that in a minute. Banking into the turns is 24 to 28 degrees. On the front stretch, the braking and also on the back stretch, the banking's 4 to 8 degrees at that point as well. Let's load up Bristol 1. What kind of week is it here? Let's check in with Dale Jr.
Baby.
That's right, Dale Jr. Play it again. Let's do it again here. Dale Jr.
It's Bristol, baby.
That's right, baby. It's Bristol, baby. I love that as well. Let's go back to September 2025. For those of you that don't know what Bristol's like racing on, piqued your interest on it here for this weekend. We're going to go back to last year, the playoff race as well, that happened in September of 2025. This will remind you of what happens at Bristol here this weekend. Bristol 2, please.
Joe Gibbs Racing has dominated these 2025 playoffs with Chase Briscoe, with Denny Hamlin, and now it's Christopher Bell, who's one lap to go, thanks to Credit One Bank, away from victory. But Keselowski's not done with yet. Here comes Brad. Hits him hard.
Good, perfect. Stay on,
Bell
dude.
sustains it, and Bell's gonna drive to victory. How about that? Christopher Bell in Bristol. That was beautiful.
I mean, they're going down to those front and back stretches here into those sharply banked turns there at the end. You see guys are going to be bumping into this stuff. They're going to be pushing. Now, that was a playoff race last September. Thanks to NBC for the video there as well. But, folks, this is one of those racetracks that you just want to watch and see as well here with how short it is and how it goes around as well. The Truck Series gets underway Friday of this week. Their practice is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, which makes that 12:30 p.m. here on the West Coast. We film here in Phoenix, by the way, so we're currently in West Coast time. Qualifying will be Friday as well, 4:35 p.m. Eastern, 1:35 our time here in Phoenix. And then the race is Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, which is 4:30 our time here in Phoenix. I like the early Friday races like last weekend. Literally left the studio here, got home, turned on the race, and got the race in there early afternoon. Well, this one's starting 4:30 Phoenix time, 7:30 Eastern. Green flag will probably be around 7:50 p.m. Eastern, which is 4:50 our time. Fox Sports 1, as you know, does the truck racing here this year. Drivers of note registered for this race. Obviously, Corey Heim, he's going for that big bonus there of $500,000 with a win here this weekend. He runs here very well as well. Luke Baldwin's in this race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is coming down from the Cup Series. Kyle Busch also coming down. Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, Daniel Suarez, Carson Hocevar. All Cup drivers coming down and racing here in the Truck Series. Who's going to win this race? Obviously, Corey Heim, I think, is the favorite. Maybe the Cup drivers in the truck race, are going to be kind of favorites as well on this. Now, we generally don't pick the absolute favorites like Corey Heim or a Cup guy. We kind of go with, the guys that race this series all the time on who's going to win it. And I'm going to go with Lane Riggs here winning this race here and sneak out this win here at Bristol here in the Truck Series as well. It's going to be a fun race here with these guys. There's a lot of guys that have the potential to win it. Go with Lane Riggs here. Now, like I said, Corey Heim can easily win it. Cup guy can easily win it. In terms of the Truck Series guys, I'm going to go with Lane Riggs there as well. But also, pay attention to Chandler Smith this weekend. Not just because of his DQ last year in September here at this racetrack. Well, he was going toe-to-toe there with Carl Larson in this Truck Series. They ended up finishing second in this race. He races really well here as well. And I think after his DQ last week, he went from last place, finished in fourth before the DQ happened. Chandler Smith's doing really well. And watch out for him this weekend. It's somebody to keep an eye on going into this race at Bristol as well. Then you got the O'Reilly Series coming up this weekend. Their practice begins Saturday this week. 2 p.m. Eastern time, which is 11 a.m. here in Phoenix. Qualifying, all right, after that, 3:05 p.m. Eastern time, which is 12:05 here in Phoenix as well. Then the race is Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, again, 4:30 here in Phoenix. The CW brings us the O'Reilly Racing as well on Saturday night. This is going to be a fun race here as well. Notable drivers registered here. Well, Connor Zilic is coming down from the Cup Series to get back into an O'Reilly car. J.J. Yealy obviously is going to be there. Kyle Larson coming down as well into the O'Reilly Series in this race. So obviously Kyle Larson did win the O'Reilly Series, or this series last year here at Bristol. So he's got a really good chance to do it. Connor Zilic, also a fantastic driver at this series. Coming down, his experience will probably get him up there for competition. But as I said, they're favorites. We don't pick those types of guys to win these races too often because those are safe bets to win. Probably one of those guys might win this race as well. But I think this race is going to come down to two guys that were in it last year as well and weren't able to beat Kyle Larson there at the end. Carson Kvapil, Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier has been hot this year. He's won 3 of the last 5 races in this series this year. Can he keep that going is the question you have going to this weekend. Carson Kvapil can run this racetrack. He was there last year toward the end. Does he have enough to get the win and push through to the win? I do think the experience of Justin Allgaier and maybe a Kyle Larson as well, maybe an experience of Connor Zilic, might keep him from getting that checkered flag for him. So I'm going to go with Allgaier here to get another win this season here in the 2026 season. Add to that point total that he has there in the championship points and continue his dominating start here in the O'Reilly Series as well. And Cup Series was off last week. Who comes back this week? Who comes back energized? Who comes back ready to race at Bristol? Look, as Dale Jr. said, it's Bristol, baby. You're ready to race at Bristol. It's one of the tracks you look forward to every year as a driver. Chaos happens. Tempers flare. The racing gets energetic out there. So let's get you reminded of the playoff points since the Cup Series was off last week. So Cup 1, please, for the championship points. Tyler Reddick there, no doubt about it, still in the lead. Well, you had to take a week off here to keep him from winning races in that Cup Series. Then you got Ryan Blaney there, Team Penske, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski there, and then Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace. Unbelievable racing year overall for Bubba Wallace. Now, after this break, can he keep that going? Then you got the other Team Penske member there, at least the 2 big names, Joey Logano there in the 12th spot. Then you got Ryan Preece, SVG. Love the way he's racing on ovals this year. Carson Hocever in 15th. Daniel Suarez in the 16th spot. Outside looking in, Michael McDowell, Austin Cedric, Ross Chastain, and A.J. Allmendinger from that side. Now, the number 1 car of Ross Chastain is going to run the Busch motif there, the fishing motif on his car. I love that look of that car here this weekend at Bristol. But his bigger thing is he has not run well here over the last couple of years. And with SVG being such a great street car or road course racer, now he's been getting better on the ovals. SVG might be surpassing Ross Chastain as the staple driver there in that series, with Connor Zilic being the young guy there, trying to still find his way in the Cup Series as well. We get the concrete track here this weekend at Bristol. Well, if you remember, the 2024 season was the first season since 2021 that both Bristol races were run on concrete surfaces. Yeah, if you remember, they did that. I call it the gimmick, right? The 2021 to 2023 spring races. The spring race was run on that temporary dirt surface there at Bristol. Yeah, and I did not like that at all, to be honest with you, in the series. And then let's look at some stats here around the Bristol race, as it caught me a little bit off guard, even though I'm doing the show on where I need to be at here, right? Who's going to win this race? Well, here's some stats for you. Active Bristol pole winners going into this race, because we're going to look at the percentage of, where you start at here at Bristol to where you finish at, percentages coming up here. So active pole winners, well, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, A.J. Allmendinger, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney and A.J. Allmendinger both have 1 poles here. Kyle Busch has 2. You have to go back to 2018 for his last pole. Denny Hamlin, on the other hand, well, 4 of them there. But you have to go back to 2019 for his pole win. Lately, it's been one-off guys. And what I mean by that, 1 pole victory, right? Christopher Bell won a pole in 2023. Chase Elliott won the pole in 2019. Kyle Larson won it back in 2018, right? So Joey Logano hasn't won a pole here. He's only won one, and he hasn't won it since 2010 as well. There's this dynamic here on the pole and the practice runs for qualifying. The guys with speed, the Hendrick Motorsports, the Joe Gibbs Racing, the RFKs, they'll do really well in qualifying in this race. It's when the race starts with everything that happens where you tend to lose that side of it as well. In terms of active organizations and their polls, yeah, check this out. Hendrick Motorsports leads with 14 polls here at Bristol. As I told you, one car on the track, the speed can dominate here and get you that pole position. Hendrick Motorsports on their 14, they won it in 25, 24 as well. Then you go back into the early 2000s and before. Joe Gibbs Racing has 12 poles here. 2023, then you go back into 19 and 18 and things to that effect. Team Penske, believe it or not, Joey Logano hasn't won it since 2010, but Ryan Blaney has 11 poles for them. 2024 was their last one. Then you got to go back to early 2000s after that. RFK Racing won a pole in 2012 and 2011 with their 11 poles here. Then you get into the Wood Brothers that haven't won it since the 70s. They have 4. Richard Childress, 2001 was their last pole and 3. Colleague Racing, though, has 1. Right? 2025 is when Colleague Racing won the pole as well. So Speed Car will win the pole for you. Speed Car will get you in the front of this racetrack and everything. Then we get into actual and active Bristol winners out there. This is where the numbers get really, really interesting on who are winners. One guy with the most wins, that'd be Kyle Busch. Just take him right off the lines. I don't think he has any chance to win this weekend, but he has 8 wins here at Bristol. Obviously, before he got to his RCR racing team now, right? His last win was 2019 at that time. Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs Racing as well, which is where Kyle Busch won those races as well. He has 4 wins here. 2023. Well, let's do this. 2012, 2019, 23, and 24 for Denny Hamlin. He has won here recently. You got Kyle Larson. 3 wins for him. 21, 24, 25 for Kyle Larson. You notice that? 24 and 25. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Brad Keselowski, who you saw in the spring playoff race, second place finish for him. He's got 3 wins here as well. You have to go back to 2020 for him to win here at Bristol. What you saw last September in that playoff race, challenging Christopher Bell for that victory in the second spot, bumped him and just could not get past him. And RFK's running really fast and really well here this year. Joey Logano has 2 wins here. Hasn't won since 2015 for him. Christopher Bell, obviously you just saw, won that race in September. He has the 1 win there as well. Chris Buescher, the other RFK driver, won this race in 2022. RFK is a threat to win this race, whether it be Chris Buescher or whether it be Brad Keselowski. There's a chance they can win this. I don't like them to. There's a chance they can win this as well. Starting positions and winning percentage at Bristol. We talk about this a lot. You start in the front, you have better odds to win. Some tracks, right, you have to be in the top 5 to have a really good chance to win. If you start in the first starting position, meaning you win the pole, you win this race 21.3% of the time. 27 total wins at that spot, just in the pole. Then second place, 15 wins at that spot, 11.8%. Third place, 11 wins. Fourth place, 10 wins. Fifth place, 11 wins again. Then you got sixth place at 9. Other than that, everything is 5 and below except for spot 8 and 9 starting. 7 wins there. It's only a 5.5% chance. So that tells you, folks, winning from the front row, you have a 33% chance to win in the front row. Winning from the top 5 position, 58.5% if you're in the top 5 after qualifying, and you start in the top 5 here at Bristol. You can stretch it out to top 10 if you want, but you want to be in the top 5 after qualifying to have a chance to win this race by the statistics. Top 10 starting positions, you win 78.7% of the time. Your winner's not coming most likely from outside of the top 10. Pay attention before you put your money down to talk about who's going to win this. I make the picks before qualifying, so give me a little bit of grace. But you must be in the top 10 to win this race, period. End of story. 78% of the time, top 10 or in wins this race. Pay attention to qualifying this weekend as well. Make a bet with your friends that a top 10 winner in qualifying will win this race. You have a really good odds to get that to win as well. Kyle Larson won the fall 24 race. He won the spring 25 race here at Bristol. He won the truck race last year as well. He won the O'Reilly race last year here as well in spring. Kyle Larson can win this race, and he's dominant as well. He's a big favorite going into the weekend. But can you win the fall 24, the spring 25 race? Christopher Bell obviously won the fall 25. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do back-to-back. It's hard to stay up there and win. He is a favorite there, though, going into this weekend. I think it's more difficult, though, with his winning. And quite frankly, I'm going to even admit to you, Kyle Larson's beginning to the season is worrisome to me as well. Denny Hamlin will be competitive in this race. He's got a real good chance to be there at the end. Can he get to the finish line? I told you about RFK drivers. Can they get there at the end? They're going to be competitive in this race. Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski. Do they have enough to get past a Joe Gibbs racer, right? Like Christopher Bell. Like the Denny Hamlin. Can they get past them to win if they are in the front as well? I'm going to go with an outlier for winning this race this weekend. Guy that hasn't won it since 2010. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm picking him. I just think he's going to meddle around in the back of this racetrack. His pit stops have to go well. His car cannot be caught up in any shenanigans out on the racetrack, because that's usually what does him in a racetrack. I think he's going to have a very solid qualifying race here at Bristol coming up. I'm going to take a flyer, folks. I realize I'm stretching here. I might pull a muscle here with my stretching. I'm going to go with Joey Logano this weekend to get the win. To me, it's too easy to go Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson. It's too easy to pick those guys. RFK, Brad Keselowski, even Chris Buescher. It's too easy to pick those guys. Let's go Team Penske. Let's go Joey Logano this weekend and take a stretch on it. Can't be any worse than some of my picks this year, like Gio Ruggiero last weekend. Eesh. Can't get any worse than that, folks. Let's take a stab at it here. Let's go Joey Logano this weekend here at Bristol as well. And, folks, appreciate you joining me here on the pit stop this week. We look back at The Rock. We look ahead, of course, to Bristol. We'll be back next week as well, every week, a one-time show as well. Come and join us next week. Catch us rumble.com/user/TME Media. YouTube page, TME Media AZ. Give us a follow there as well, all your favorite podcast systems. We'll see you there, folks. Have a great week. Let's go racing at Bristol this weekend. It's Bristol, baby!